How did I go from telling my husband he must earn more to deserve me, to getting served papers in my office lobby? What did I miss while I was busy calling him lazy when he was quietly protecting himself and his money? Why did the words inheritance trust hit me harder than the divorce request? My name is Aurelia Park, and I used to think love was like a contract. If I gave my time, my body, my plans, then my husband should give me a better life. That is how I explained it to myself. I told people it was normal. I told myself I was being honest. Ethan and I lived in a small house that looked nice from the street. Inside, everything felt tight. The kitchen was clean, but I always saw what was missing. I saw the old fridge, the plain cups, the simple groceries. I saw my friends posting trips and new cars. I saw their rings shining in photos. I felt like I was falling behind. One Monday morning, I made coffee and placed my mug on the counter. Ethan put his mug on the other side, like he did not notice the space between them. He looked tired. He had a work shirt on, and his hair was still damp from a fast shower. He asked if I slept well. I said I was fine. He asked if I wanted eggs. I said I did not have time. I tapped my phone and opened a notes app where I kept my list of goals. I liked lists. Lists made me feel in control. I told him I was thinking about our future. I said we needed to talk about money. He asked what was wrong with our money. I said nothing was wrong, but nothing was great either. He said his job was steady and the bills were paid. I said steady was not the same as success. He asked what I wanted him to do. I said he needed to earn more. I said it in a calm voice like I was giving advice. He stared at his coffee for a moment. He asked if I was unhappy with him. I said I was unhappy with the life he gave me. I watched his face change. I did not call it pain. I called it resistance. He told me I worked too, and we were a team. I said a team still needs a leader. He asked if I was calling him weak. I said I was calling him comfortable. I told him love needs standards. I told him I could not feel safe with a man who stayed in the same place. He asked if my love depended on his paycheck. I said, love follows effort. I said I wanted a husband who chased growth. I did not say I wanted a husband who made me look impressive, but that was the truth under my words. After breakfast, Ethan reached for the mail and sorted it in a neat pile. There were bills, school letters, and a coupon flyer. I saw him place one envelope in a folder. The folder had a clean label that said, Utilities. I laughed a little and told him he was acting like an old man. He said he was just keeping things organized. I said organization was not the problem. He did not answer. We drove to work in the same car because my office was on his route. I sat in the passenger seat and looked at my phone. I kept my face turned to the window, like I was bored. Ethan asked if we could talk later without pressure. I said we already talked. He asked why I sounded angry. I said I was not angry, I was realistic. At a stoplight, I mentioned my friend Sasha's husband. I said he just got a bonus and booked a weekend trip. Ethan said he was happy for them. I asked why he could not do the same. He said different jobs pay different amounts. I said that sounded like an excuse. He asked if I wanted him to quit. I said I wanted him to win. When we reached my building, I grabbed my bag and opened the door fast. Ethan asked if I was still coming to Noah's school event on Friday. I said I would try. He asked why I could not just say yes. I said my job mattered too. He nodded and looked forward. I liked that he did not fight me. I also hated it. When he stayed calm, I could not point at him and say he was the problem. That evening we met at the supermarket. Ethan pushed the cart and reached for the list on his phone. I had made a longer list in my head, full of nice things. I wanted better snacks for the kids, a special cheese, a bottle of sparkling water. I wanted to feel like we were the kind of family who bought things without counting. At the checkout, the total came up higher than Ethan expected. He asked if we could remove a few items. I said it was fine, and the kids deserved treats. He said we had to be careful this week. I turned my head and saw a woman behind us watching. I felt heat in my cheeks. I did not like being seen as the wife who could not get what she wanted. Ethan picked up the special cheese and asked if we could wait until next week. I said next week was always his answer. He asked me to lower my voice. I said I was not loud. He asked if we could talk in the car. I said no, we would talk now. I did it on purpose. I wanted him to feel small in front of strangers. He put the cheese aside and then the sparkling water. I said he was embarrassing me. He asked how he was embarrassing me. I said he was making us look broke. He said we were not broke, but we had limits. I said limits were for people who accept less. He breathed out slowly and paid for the rest. In the car, he asked why money turned into a fight every time. I said because he kept choosing comfort over growth. He asked if I saw his effort. I said effort that stays in the same place is not enough. He asked if I still loved him. I paused and then said, I love the idea of what we could be. At home, Ethan carried groceries inside and put them away with quiet hands. The kids ran around him, and he smiled at them. I noticed how gentle he was with them, and for a second I felt a sting. I still think I was right about money, but I also knew I was cutting him down. Later, while Ethan washed dishes, his phone lit up on the counter. I did not mean to look. I told myself that. I saw a small calendar alert flash for a second. It said, downtown, 9:25 a.m. Then another alert appeared under it, short and plain. It said, meeting, personal. I asked him what that was. He said it was just something he needed to handle. I asked if it was work. He said not exactly. I asked why he did not tell me. He said he did not want to argue. I told him it was suspicious to hide things. He said he was not hiding, he was protecting peace. I rolled my eyes and told him peace was not a reason to shut me out. He asked me to trust him. I said trust is earned. He looked at me for a long time, like he was deciding what to do with my words. Then he picked up his phone and turned it face down. I watched him dry his hands and place his mug on the far side of the counter again, away from mine, like the space between us was now real. I told myself he was being dramatic. I told myself he was trying to punish me. But when I saw that alert again, I felt something colder than anger. I felt like I might be losing control, and I did not know why. The next weekend, Sasha invited us to a rooftop bar downtown. She said it was couples' night, but I knew she wanted an audience. She liked being the center, and she liked when other women copied her. I told Ethan we should go because it would be good for networking. He asked what kind of networking happens at night with loud music. I said he was too serious. I spent a long time getting ready. I chose a dress that looked expensive, even though it was not. I wanted to look like a woman a man should chase. In the mirror, I practiced my smile. I told myself I was still young, still wanted, still worth more than our simple house. In the car, Ethan drove with both hands on the wheel. He asked if we could have a calm night. I said we could if he did not embarrass me. He asked what that meant. I said it meant he should not talk like a person who accepts average. He asked if I was already angry. I said I was already tired of being patient. The bar had bright lights and soft sofas. There were heaters, and people stood close together. Sasha waved like she owned the place. Her husband, Caleb, handed Ethan a drink and asked how work was going. Ethan said it was steady and busy. Sasha laughed and asked if steady meant same paycheck again. I smiled, because I liked the way she said it. I liked that she said what I wanted to say. Ethan looked at me and asked if I wanted to go home. I said we just arrived. Sasha asked if Ethan was still in the same role. I said he was, but I was pushing him to grow. Sasha asked what I meant by pushing. I told them my line like it was a joke. I said he needed to earn more for my love. People laughed. 2 women I barely knew laughed the loudest. I watched Ethan's face. He did not shout. He did not slam a glass. He just blinked, like someone pushed air out of him. That calm made me feel powerful, because it made him look weak. I told myself it was fair. I told myself men need pressure. A man in a blazer asked Ethan what he did. Ethan said he was a civil engineer. The man nodded and said, "That sounds stable." Sasha jumped in and said, "Stable is nice, but a wife wants comfort too." I nodded again, and I said I was only asking for basic things, like trips and savings and a better car. Ethan asked what was wrong with our car. I said it was old, like his mindset. Later, on the terrace, Sasha pulled me aside. She asked if I was serious about leaving Ethan if he did not change. I said I did not want to leave. I just wanted him to feel the risk. She asked if I had options. I said every woman has options if she looks after herself. She smiled and said I should not waste my best years on a man who will not level up. Ethan stood near the railing, looking at the city lights. He checked his phone once, then put it away. I walked over and asked if he was sulking. He said he was fine. I asked why he was so quiet. He said he did not want to argue in public. I told him it would not become public if he stopped acting offended. He asked if I thought he deserved shame. I said shame is a teacher. He looked at me like he did not recognize me. On Monday, I brought the bar energy into my office. I worked in HR, so people already watched what I did. I told myself I could control it. I wore a sharper outfit and walked slower, like I had time. At lunch, I sat with Sasha and Maris in the break area. Sasha showed pictures from the bar and laughed at Ethan's sad face. Maris asked if it was kind to post that. I said it was not a big deal, just a joke. Then Brent came by. He was a vendor rep who visited our building sometimes. He always smiled like he knew secrets. He asked how my weekend was. I said it was fun and loud. He asked if my husband enjoyed it. I said my husband was not good at fun. Brent laughed and said some men are scared of women with standards. He sat near us without being invited, like he belonged. Sasha asked who he was. Brent introduced himself and shook Sasha's hand. He said he worked with our company and liked coming here because the people were real. Sasha said she liked real men too, and she looked at me like she was passing a message. Brent asked if I wanted to see a new restaurant near the gym. He said they had healthy bowls and good coffee. I said maybe, and I smiled like it was nothing. Maris looked at me with a warning face. She asked if that was appropriate. I said it was just business talk. In my head, I also said I deserved attention. I told myself Ethan had plenty of chances. That evening, I went to the gym after work. I said it was for my health. I also liked the way people looked at me when I tried. In the lobby, Brent was there, leaning on the counter like it was planned. He said he did not know I came here. I said I came because I needed a better routine. We talked about simple things. He asked what I did at work. I said I managed people problems. He said that sounds hard. I said it was harder at home. He asked what I meant. I said my husband did not understand ambition. Brent said some men feel threatened by strong women. I nodded, because I liked that story better than the truth. When I got home, Ethan was helping Noah with a school worksheet at the table. Mia colored beside them. Ethan asked if the gym was busy. I said yes. He asked if I ate. I said I grabbed something quick. He asked what. I said a bowl. He asked from where. I said near the gym. His eyes held on mine for a second too long. I could feel him scanning my face, but he kept his voice steady. He asked if I met anyone there. I laughed and asked if he was being paranoid. He said he was just asking. I said it was controlling to question me. He said he did not want to control me. He wanted to understand where we were going. I told him we were going toward a better life if he stopped resisting. He asked if public jokes helped. I said yes, because they show him what people think. He asked why people's opinions mattered more than his feelings. I said feelings do not pay bills. Ethan stood up and took the kids to wash their hands. I stayed at the table and scrolled my phone. A message popped up from Brent. It was short and casual, asking if I liked the restaurant. I saved his contact as a single emoji because it felt safer and also exciting. I told myself it was smart, not sneaky. When Ethan came back, he looked at the counter where the mail sat. He moved a few envelopes into a neat stack. I noticed a folder near the edge, thicker than before, and the label looked new. He did not open it. He just slid it into a drawer and closed it softly. I asked what he was doing. He said he was keeping track of things. I asked what things. He said household things. I said he was acting strange. He asked if I could stop calling him names. I said I was not calling him names. I was naming the problem. That night, Ethan went to bed early in the guest room again. I stayed up and told myself he was trying to punish me. I told myself I was still the one with power because I was the one who wanted more. But when I heard his phone buzz once and he did not react, I felt a small fear. It was like he had moved his focus away from me, and I could not stand that. I started to treat my marriage like a report card. If Ethan did not hit the numbers I wanted, I acted like he failed me. In my mind, that made my choices reasonable. I told myself I was not cruel. I told myself I was honest in a world full of fake smiles. That week, Brent texted more. He kept it light, like he was careful. He asked how my day went. I said it was long. He said I sounded stressed. I said my husband did not understand pressure. He said I deserved someone who matched my energy. I liked how he said deserved, like I was a prize. On Wednesday, I told Ethan I had a work meeting after hours. He asked where. I said near downtown. He asked if it was at the office. I said it was off-site. He asked if I wanted him to pick up the kids. I said yes, like I was doing him a favor by giving him a task. I met Brent at a co-working cafe that smelled like toasted bread and warm coffee. People sat with laptops and headphones, looking important. I liked that place because it made me feel like I had a bigger life. Brent stood when I arrived and smiled like I was expected. He asked if I wanted coffee. I said yes. He asked if I wanted to sit in the back. I said that was fine. We talked about opportunities. He asked what I wanted in life. I said stability and comfort. He asked if I had that. I said not enough. He asked if Ethan tried. I said Ethan tried in small ways, but small ways do not move you forward. Brent asked if Ethan knew I felt that way. I said Ethan knew and refused to change. Brent said some men only move when they feel loss. I said I already tried pressure. Brent said, pressure is not the same as walking away. I told him I was not the kind of woman who waits forever. He nodded like he understood me better than my husband did. When I left the cafe, I checked my phone and saw a missed call from no caller ID. I told myself it was spam. Still, it sat in my mind like a pebble in a shoe. I texted Ethan that the meeting ran late. He replied with one sentence, saying he handled dinner and baths. No questions, no anger. That felt wrong in a way I could not name. The next day, Noah had a school event at the park playground. It was one of those small community things with parents and teachers standing around. I almost skipped it, but I wanted pictures. I wanted to look like a good mother online. Ethan arrived with the kids first. He had wipes in his pocket and a water bottle in his hand. He looked like a man who knew what mattered. He asked if I was okay. I said I was fine. He asked if work was stressful. I said yes, and implied it was because I carried so much. He said he could help more. I said help is not the same as providing. Noah ran to the swings and shouted for a push. Ethan pushed him gently. Mia held Ethan's hand and pointed at ducks near the water. I stood a few steps away and took photos. I posted one quickly with a short caption about family time. I did not mention the silence between us. Noah climbed down and came to me. He asked why Dad slept in the other room. I felt people nearby and I did not want a scene. I smiled and said Dad was just being dramatic. Noah asked if it was his fault. I said no and told him grown-ups have boring issues. Ethan watched us from a distance, and his face stayed calm. That calm felt like a wall. After the park, we went home. Ethan carried Mia inside while Noah walked beside him. I followed behind them and listened to their shoes on the floor. The house sounded different when nobody argued. It sounded like a place where something ended quietly. That evening we had a family dinner at a restaurant with a long table. My parents came, and Ethan's mother came, and Ethan's brother Caleb came too. Sasha was there as well because she always found a way to be included. She said she wanted to support me. I knew she wanted to watch. We sat under bright lights. Plates clinked and people talked over each other. Darlene started the conversation like it was a show. She asked Ethan how work was going and then asked if he had a plan to earn more soon. Ethan said his work was stable and he was proud of it. Darlene said proud does not buy a bigger house. I laughed like it was harmless. Helen's mouth tightened. She asked Darlene to speak kindly. Darlene said she was being honest. I joined in and said, honesty is love. Ethan looked at me and asked if I wanted to do this here. I said I was not doing anything. I was just speaking truth. Sasha added comments about men who settle. She said women should not carry dead weight. Ethan did not snap. He ate slowly and spoke in short answers. Caleb, Ethan's brother, kept looking at Ethan like he wanted to protect him, but he stayed quiet. At one point, Ethan asked me if I was coming home after dinner or going out again. He asked it softly, not like an attack. I felt trapped by the question. I said I had a deadline and might need to return to the office. Sasha smiled like she knew what that meant. Helen looked at me with a tired face. My father Gordon tried to change the subject and asked about the kids' school. Noah talked about a class project. Mia played with a napkin. The kids were innocent in the middle of all our adult poison, and I still kept talking like I was right. After dinner, while people stood outside the restaurant, Helen stepped closer to Ethan. She asked if he was okay. Ethan said he was fine. She asked if he needed support. He said he was handling things. She looked at him for a long time, then nodded. That nod bothered me. It felt like a plan. On the drive home, Ethan did not talk much. He asked if I enjoyed embarrassing him. I said, nobody was embarrassed unless they choose to be. He asked if I cared about his feelings at all. I said feelings are not the main issue. He asked what the main issue was. I said the main issue was that he was holding my life back. When we got home, Ethan walked into the guest room without a word. I stayed in the kitchen and scrolled my phone. Brent texted, asking if I was free tomorrow. I typed a reply, then deleted it, then typed again. I told myself I deserved a little happiness. I told myself Ethan left me lonely. Late that night, I heard a low hum from the guest room. It sounded like a shredder. I paused and listened. The hum stopped, then I heard a soft click, like a drawer locking. I walked closer and stood in the hallway, pretending I was just getting water. Ethan opened the guest room door a little. He saw me and asked if I needed something. I said I could not sleep. He said he was almost done with what he was doing. I asked what he was doing. He said he was organizing. I asked why he needed a lock to organize. He said he needed privacy. The next morning, I saw a taxes folder on the counter. It looked thicker than before. When Ethan walked the kids to the bathroom, I lifted it quickly. A small USB was taped under it, labeled with a date. My stomach tightened. I told myself it was work files. I told myself it was nothing. Ethan came back and saw the folder in my hands. He asked me to put it down. I asked why he was hiding things now. He said he was not hiding. He was keeping records. I laughed and called him petty. He did not react. He just took the folder, slid it out of my reach, and set it in a cabinet. I watched him and felt anger rise. I wanted him to yell so I could call him the villain. But he did not. He just moved like a man who was done begging. That was when I understood something in a sharp, ugly way. Ethan was not chasing me anymore. And Brent was starting to feel less like a secret thrill and more like a door I could run through. I told myself Ethan forced me to look for that door. I said it in my head like a promise. I did not know yet how much Ethan was already collecting, one quiet detail at a time. I started using the internet like it was a weapon. I did not say Ethan's name, but I made sure people could guess. I posted quotes about men with no drive and women who settle too long. I told myself it was not cruel because I did not tag him. I told myself it was my truth. At work, the posts followed me. In the open plan office, people liked to talk while pretending they were busy. I walked past 2 desks and heard my words repeated back to me. One coworker said she saw my story and asked if I was okay. I said I was fine and just sharing motivation. Another coworker laughed and said my husband must be sweating. I smiled like it was funny. Maris came to my desk and asked if I was sure I wanted to be so public. I asked why she was judging me. She said she was not judging, she was worried. I said, worried people always protect the wrong person. She asked what I meant. I said everyone protects men's feelings, and nobody protects women's dreams. During lunch, Sasha texted me screenshots of comments. She wrote that people were on my side. She wrote that Ethan looked weak. I typed back that it was not about sides. Then I typed another message saying he needed to learn. In my head, I heard myself and I still liked it. I liked the idea that I was teaching him. Brent also texted. He wrote that I looked strong and fearless. He wrote that most men cannot handle women with standards. I replied with a short line and a smile emoji. I told myself it was harmless. I told myself I needed someone to understand me. I did not tell myself the truth, which was that I liked being wanted. That afternoon, I saw Ethan's name on my phone when he called. I stepped into a quiet corner near the printer. He asked if I could pick up the kids today because he had to run an errand. I asked what kind of errand. He said it was personal. I asked why he always had personal things now. He said he was handling life. I told him it was strange how private he was suddenly. He asked if it was strange that I was suddenly busy every night. I felt my face warm. I said he was accusing me. He said he was not accusing, he was noticing. I said noticing is just another word for controlling. He paused, and then said he would pick up the kids if I could not. I said I could do it, like I was the reasonable one. At the school pickup line, cars moved slowly. Parents stared at their screens and checked mirrors. I watched other couples sitting together, talking, sharing snacks. I wanted that image, but I also wanted control. I did not want peace if peace meant I had to admit I was wrong. Noah came out with his backpack and walked fast to the car. Mia followed with her small lunch bag. Noah climbed in and asked why Dad did not come. I said Dad had work. Noah said Dad looked tired lately. I said Dad was making himself tired because he refused to grow. Mia asked if we were going to eat dinner together. I said yes in a bright voice. I did not know if it was true. Noah looked out the window and asked if Dad was mad at me. I said Dad was not mad. Dad was dramatic. Noah asked if we were getting divorced. My stomach tightened. I told him not to use big words like that. He said another kid said it at school. I asked who said it. He shrugged. I told him kids say stupid things and do not understand. I said Mom and Dad were fine. I lied with a smooth voice, and part of me believed my own lie because it felt safer. When we got home, the house was quiet. The guest room door was closed. Ethan's shoes were lined up neatly by the wall. I hated that detail. It looked like control. It looked like he was building a separate life while still living inside mine. I made the kids a simple dinner and told myself Ethan should be grateful. When Ethan arrived, he washed his hands and asked the kids about their day. He did not ask me about mine. That silence felt loud. It made me want to poke him until he reacted. After the kids went to brush their teeth, I asked Ethan if he saw my posts. He said yes. I asked if he understood what I meant. He said he understood I was talking about him. I said I was talking about standards. He asked why my standards needed an audience. I said because men listen to crowds. He asked if I wanted a husband or a fan club. I laughed and said he was being sensitive again. He asked if I could stop calling him sensitive. I said if the label fits, it fits. He looked at me for a moment, then looked away like he was tired of words. He walked into the hallway and opened a drawer near the stairs. I heard a small click, like a lock. He pulled out a sticky note and placed it on the counter. It said, "Bring forms." I asked what forms. He said it was for something he needed to do. I asked if it was a lawyer. He said it was not my business right now. I felt my chest tighten. I told myself he was trying to scare me. I told myself it was another one of his passive games. Still, I hated that he had something I did not know. Later, while Ethan read a book to the kids, I walked past the guest room and saw his laptop open. A spreadsheet was on the screen. It had rows of dates and numbers. I could not see a title. I stood there, watching like a thief. My heart beat faster. Ethan came out and saw me near the door. He asked what I was doing. I said I was looking for a charger. He said my charger was in the kitchen drawer. I said he was always monitoring me. He said he was not monitoring. He was asking a simple question. I told him he was obsessed with details lately. He said details matter when people lie. That line hit me like a slap, but he did not raise his voice. He said it flat, like a fact. I felt my anger rise because I had no loud scene to point at. I told him I did not lie. He asked why I came home late and said it was work, but my location showed I was near the gym cafe. I froze. I asked how he knew my location. He said the family phone plan shared it, and he had not looked before, but now he did. I said that was creepy. He said it was sad, not creepy. I tried to turn it back on him. I asked why he did not trust his wife. He asked why his wife needed secret dinners. I said I did not have secret dinners. He asked why Brent's name came up on the car screen when I got in last week. I felt heat in my face again. I told him he was imagining things. He said he was not imagining. He said he was keeping track. I asked why he wanted to keep track. He said because he needed to protect the kids and himself. I said, protect from what? He said, from chaos. The kids came out of the bathroom then, and Ethan stopped talking. He smiled at them and asked if they were ready for bed. Noah looked at both of us, like he could feel the air change. Mia climbed into Ethan's arms and rested her head on his shoulder. I watched Ethan carry her to her room. I told myself he was trying to play the good parent to shame me. I told myself I was still the one who cared about improving our life. But when I stood alone in the hallway, I felt something new. It was not guilt. I would not call it that. It was fear that Ethan was no longer reacting to my words, and fear that he was collecting facts instead. The next week felt like a slow closing door. I kept talking like I had control, but the room around me kept changing. Ethan moved through the house like he had a map I could not see. He did not slam doors. He did not insult me. He did not even chase me. He just became careful. On Tuesday, I went to the supermarket alone after work. I told myself it was because Ethan was busy. The truth was, I did not want to stand next to him at the checkout again and look like the wife who could not win a simple moment. I filled the cart with things that looked nice. I picked better fruit, fancy cereal, and snacks I knew the kids would love. At the self-checkout, the total jumped higher than I expected. I stared at the screen and felt a sharp anger. It was not at the prices. It was at the way money still controlled me, even when I acted like I was above it. I paid anyway, because I wanted to prove I could. When I got home, Ethan was already there. He had cooked simple pasta. The kids were at the table, eating and talking. Ethan asked how my day was. I said it was fine. He asked what I bought. I said groceries. He looked at the bags and nodded, like he was marking something in his mind. After dinner, Noah asked if we could go to the park this weekend. Ethan said yes. I said we would see. Noah asked why we always see now. I smiled and said Mom had a lot of work. Ethan did not correct me. He just told Noah they would go, even if it was only him and the kids. Later, when the kids were in bed, I tried to get Ethan to fight with me. I asked if he was enjoying acting like a single dad. He asked what I meant. I said he was making me look bad on purpose. He said he was only doing what the kids needed. I told him he was being cold. He asked why I wanted warmth from someone I kept humiliating. I said I did not humiliate him. I motivated him. He asked if I would motivate him in private, instead of in front of friends and family. I said private talks did not work on him. He asked if I still talked to Brent. I felt my throat tighten. I said Brent was just a work contact. Ethan asked why I saved him as an emoji. I asked how he knew that. He said the car screen showed it when my phone connected. I told him he was watching me. He said he was noticing patterns. I tried to flip it. I asked why he did not try harder to keep me happy. He asked what happy meant to me. I said happy meant feeling proud of my life. He asked if pride was more important than loyalty. I did not answer directly. I said loyalty needs to be earned too. Ethan breathed out slowly, like he was tired. He asked if I realized how that sounded. I said it sounded honest. He said honesty without care is just a weapon. I laughed and told him he was dramatic again. He did not respond to the word. He just looked at me like he was done with labels. The next day at work, Brent was different. His texts were shorter. His tone was careful. When I suggested meeting near the gym cafe again, he replied late and said he was busy. He wrote that things felt complicated. I told him they were not complicated. He did not reply for hours. Sasha noticed and asked if my new fan was fading. I said Brent was not my fan. Sasha smiled and said he probably did not want to deal with a husband. I said Ethan was not the type to do anything. I said it like a joke, but it did not sound true even to me. Maris pulled me aside near the copier and asked if everything was okay at home. I told her yes and asked why she cared. She said I seemed stressed. I said Ethan was stressing me because he refused to step up. She asked if I was sure I was not stressing him. I stared at her, then said she did not understand my marriage. She nodded like she did, and that bothered me. At home, Ethan began making small changes that felt like quiet walls. He moved one set of documents into a locked drawer. I heard the click again. He set separate stacks of mail. He kept a folder labeled Bank on the high shelf in the pantry. He did not hide it like a criminal. He placed it like a man who wanted it to be seen but not touched. One night, I walked into the kitchen and saw his phone screen light up. An alarm showed for a second before he silenced it. It said, paper drop. I asked what paper drop meant. He said it was something he had to handle. I asked if it was for work. He said no. I asked if it was a lawyer. He said he would not discuss that with me right now. I told him he could not shut me out. He asked why I wanted access now when I treated his life like a joke. I said I was his wife. He said being his wife did not give me the right to harm him. I tried a softer voice. I asked if we could start over. He asked what start over would look like. I said he could try harder, earn more, and show me he cared. Ethan stared at me. He asked if that was really my only plan. I said it was a fair plan. He asked if I loved him at all. I said I loved the family. He asked if I loved him. I said he was making it difficult. He nodded once, like he finally heard what he needed to hear. The weekend came, and Ethan took the kids to his mother's house for the afternoon. He told me in advance. He said the kids would be back before bedtime. I asked why he was running to his mother. He said he was not running. He was giving the kids a calm day. When they returned, Noah looked happier. Mia fell asleep in the car. Helen stood on the porch for a moment and spoke quietly to Ethan. I could not hear the words, but I saw Ethan's face. It looked steady, not sad. It looked like a decision. That night, I tried again to pull him back into my fight. I told him I could not respect a man who stayed average. I told him respect follows results. I said I had results at work, and I wanted the same at home. I said it like a speech. Ethan listened without interrupting. When I finished, he asked if I was done. I said yes. He nodded and said he would not argue anymore. I asked what that meant. He said it meant he was going to handle things properly. I told him he was trying to scare me. He said he was not trying to scare me. He said he was choosing a lawful path and a calm path. He said he would not talk about it in front of the kids, and he would not make a scene. I opened my mouth to push again, but his face did not change. His voice stayed even. He repeated it once, simple and final. He said he would handle it properly. I thought Ethan's properly line was just a speech. I went to work the next morning and tried to reset my face. I told myself he would cool down. I told myself he needed me more than he wanted to admit. Around lunch, I walked down to the office tower lobby to grab a coffee. The lobby was bright and open, with a security desk and people moving in and out. I checked my phone and saw Sasha had sent a message asking if Ethan was still acting weird. I started typing back, but then a man in a plain jacket stepped toward me. He asked if I was Aurelia Park. I said yes. He asked me to confirm my address. I said I did not see why. He said he was there to deliver legal documents and needed to confirm identity. My stomach dropped. I asked what this was about. He said he could not give legal advice, and he only needed me to accept the packet. I looked around and saw 2 coworkers near the elevator watching. I felt heat rush up my neck. I told the man I could not do this here. He said he understood, but it still had to be delivered. He held the envelope out. I took it because my hands moved before my brain caught up. I walked to a bench near the lobby window and opened it with shaking fingers. The words were clean and formal. I saw petition and temporary orders and parenting schedule. I read my name like it belonged to someone else. I read Ethan's name and felt rage because he did it without a fight. He did it without begging. I called him right away. He answered on the second ring. I asked if he was serious. He said yes. I asked why he would do this to me in public. He said he did not choose the place, and he chose the lawful process. I told him he was trying to humiliate me. He said he was trying to end the chaos. I asked him if he was punishing me for having standards. He said it was not about standards. It was about respect and safety for the kids. I told him the kids were fine. He asked if they were fine when Noah asked about divorce in a pickup line. I went quiet for a second because I did not like hearing my own mess repeated back to me. I tried a different voice. I asked if we could talk tonight and fix it. He asked what fix it meant. I said it meant he could try harder and stop acting like a victim. He said he would only discuss the children's schedule now. He told me the pickup times were in the packet. He said we would keep exchanges calm and on time. Then he ended the call. I sat there and told myself he was cold. I told myself he was being dramatic, but my hands were shaking too much to scroll. I kept reading. There was a section about money that made my eyes sting. It talked about marital spending, waste, and keeping bills stable. It also mentioned something I did not expect to see in writing. It referred to an inheritance and separate property. At first, I thought it was a mistake. Ethan never talked about big money. He drove an old car and wore the same work boots for years. Then I remembered the quiet changes, the labeled folders, the locked drawer, the paper drop alarm, the spreadsheet with dates. It was not about groceries. It was about me. I called Sasha. She answered fast and asked if I was okay. I said Ethan served me at work. She made a shocked sound and asked if we should go live and expose him. I said he was trying to ruin me. She said men do that when they lose control. She told me to post first and make him look abusive. Maris walked into the lobby then, holding a folder. She asked if I was all right. I tried to smile and said it was nothing. She looked at the papers in my lap and asked if it was divorce. I said yes, and my voice cracked even though I did not want it to. She said softly that I should not post anything right now. I asked why she was taking his side. She said she was taking reality's side. My next call was to my mother. Darlene answered and asked what happened. I told her Ethan filed. She said he could not do that if I did not agree. I told her he already did. She said I needed to fight and remind him what he would lose. I said he was the one losing me. Darlene asked about money, like she always did. I told her there was an inheritance mentioned. She went silent for a beat, then asked how much. I did not know yet. I only knew the word inheritance was sitting on the page like a locked door. By late afternoon, I found myself in a courthouse lobby because the packet told me where to go for the temporary orders summary and next steps. People sat in rows with tired faces. A clerk called names. When mine was called, I stood up and walked forward, like my legs belonged to a stranger. The clerk handed me a short summary sheet. I scanned it fast. It confirmed the temporary parenting schedule starting immediately. It listed exchange times and said communication should stay focused on the children. It also included a warning about harassment and public attacks. It said social media behavior could be considered in decisions related to stability and co-parenting. Then I saw it again, clearer this time. A line stating the inheritance assets were treated as separate, not marital, based on documentation already provided. My mouth went dry. Millions, my brain whispered, because Darlene's voice lived inside my head and always translated love into numbers. I turned around and saw Ethan across the lobby, not close enough to touch, but close enough to be real. He stood with Caleb beside him. Ethan's face looked calm, almost tired, but steady. He did not glare. He did not smirk. He just watched, like a man who finally stepped out of a fire. I walked toward him with the paper shaking in my hand and asked how he could hide that from me. He said he did not hide it, he protected it. I asked if he planned this while I was begging him to earn more. He said he planned to protect the kids and end the marriage legally the moment he understood I would not stop. I asked if he inherited millions and still let me struggle. He said he inherited responsibility, not a reason to be owned. I looked down at the order again, at the schedule, at the warning, at the line that closed the door on the money I thought I could reach. I tried to speak, but a court